You're such an asshole.
Okay, I pulled it up. There we go. All right, assholeconsulting.com. How you kids doing? Keith writes, and Keith has been incredibly patient since mid-May. Hey, Cappy, Keith, please do a video on everything you know about guns. I was like, okay, everything? And I didn't include everything because some of it's pretty common sense, but I had to sit down and it was a good half an hour, 40 minutes of me like, all right, what about that? And I kind of organized it a little bit. So I'm going to you everything about cigars and motorcycle videos. Thanks. All right. So I apologize for Keith for taking so long. It's been a very busy day, and I had a piece of cigar. So here's everything. There's a little bit of order, but I just kind of started writing stuff down. I realized instead of writing something that was scripted and well written like an essay, it's just bullet point here. So here we go. You paid for my time, not for the performance. If you don't practice, you will suck at them. All right. There's no, you could get a gun. If you don't practice with it, I guess it's better than no protection. You might hurt somebody with it. But you need to practice with it. And you need to practice regularly. You could get out of practice. Take a gun safety and operating course. That would help out, especially if you are new to guns. Spend time at the range, improve your marksmanship, and practice drawing. And not only practice drawing, but practice in different situations. Obviously, you'd be practicing for more like self-defense. Some crazy guy comes after you, some PCP, knife-wielding asshole. We don't have to worry about monetizing this because Google won't monetize because it's about guns. Things that created America. So that Google could exist. But that's one thing. And a lot of this I'm a hypocrite about because I practice occasionally. Do I get enough range time? No. Can I afford range time with the bullets? No. But out of respect, especially when I was working armed security, yeah. And I would practice a little bit more, but out of respect for society and safety, not to mention my employer, you should practice. And practice drawing. Me, I like to carry on the side. Some people like to carry by their crotch. Other people like to be right-handed. That's on the right side, left side. Oh, and by the way, another thing about guns, everybody who thinks they know something about guns has a different opinion and everybody else is wrong and they're idiots and morons. And get used to that because a lot of people take their purpose and value in life. They're like, I got a gun. And whereas I'm like, hey, this is a tool to protect me. I should learn to operate it and not get too excited whether I cross draw or right draw or whatever. Always clean your guns. They're pieces of equipment. And they're not, if you get the wrong gun, it's finicky. But, even a cheap pistol is $300. It's $300. You buy your Xbox at $300, right? So keep it in good shape. Learn to clean it, disassemble it, get the right oils and tools. I didn't mention this. I didn't have it listed on my thing, but Hoppes, Hoppes, that oil. Get that oil. Clean the guns. YouTube is not your friend. You're going to have to learn to go to Pornhub or some other website where gun videos are allowed to teach you how to disassemble, clean, and maintain the different types of gun you got. And usually because guns are fun and people like guns, whatever obscure gun you might have or common gun you might have, there's a video out there on how to maintain it, clean it, etc. If kids are coming over, lock up your guns in a safe or use the handcuff method if you got a pair of handcuffs. I don't know why Cappy would have a pair of handcuffs because I work security. That's why. Never use them, though, for fun shit. You put cuff them between the trigger and the trigger guard so it can't be fired. That's one way to secure your guns. Another way to secure it is usually you'll get a wire lock that you run through the chamber out through the magazine and back up. That way the gun can't even be loaded, let alone fired. Or put them in the safe or something like that. But anytime kids are coming, and I'll be honest, I have guns laying all over the place. They're not like on the table. We're saying, what the hell is this doing here? Although when I used to work, back in my old place, I'd have it right there in case someone walked in. But I have guns hidden but not too well hidden so I can grab it if I need it in different rooms and things like that. But when the little nieces and nephews come over, those go away and they don't even know I have them. Because kids, well, you were a kid one time, if you remember what it was like. Safety is obviously very important, but when you go to gun ranges or you hang out with gun aficionados, you want to look out for the safety bunnies. The safety bunnies are usually, I'll give you the stereotype, usually, but not always, a middle-aged to older white guy who's fat and has nothing else to do in their life but guns. And to make themselves feel better, like I remember one particular time at a gun range, and they gave me the intro, like, put the gun here, carry it over, and then I'm like, okay. So I didn't do that. I put the gun, my case that held the gun, I put it at the firing range. I opened it there, and then I proceeded to load it and shoot it down on the range. And this fat comic book guy, neat. I noticed that you, and I don't even know if he was the owner or not. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with this shit. Fuck off. Another time, I was at a gun store in Eden Prairie. I would love to mention it. Gun store, okay? You know what they sell there? Guns. You know what else they sell there? Bullets. So I had my gun in my case. And usually you get 2 magazines with your gun. And this is my carry gun. And so I had a loaded magazine in the magazine, in the pistol, but I never chamber around, so it's not chambered. I think that gun had a safety. I forgot why I was bringing that gun in. So it's in the case. It doesn't have one in the chamber, and I forgot, like, I cleaned my own gun, so it wasn't that. Was it getting an extended mag? So I don't know. And so I got my gun in my case, and the guy, this boomer fuck that just needs to get hit by a train in Minecraft. You got a gun in there? No, I got a pink balloon. Yeah, I need you to put that on the table. Okay, open it up. Is that loaded? Yes. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So he proceeds me to take it out, set it down, keep it chambered open. You can lock it open. All right, now what do you want? I said, nothing, you fuckwit, and you're an asshole. I loaded it up, and then I chambered around because you put the magazine, you could hit the release. So there, like any group of people, there's a bunch of dicks where they literally have nothing else in life but Dungeons and Dragons, or, ooh, I wear my mask, or, ooh, I'm a safety bunny. And these people are, you think Buzz Killington was a killing, Buzz Killer, in Family Guy. These guys will really piss you off at the range. They'll really piss you off. And I don't know how, maybe I should have handled them a bit more aggressively, because they really do need to be purged out. I told the guy to fuck off, and they're like, what's going on? And I don't know if it was the owner or man, but this guy had a loaded gun. I'm like, imagine that. A guy going to a gun store to buy guns had a loaded gun with his carry concealed permit. So there's just small penis men who go on. So look out for the safety bunnies. That's one of the most perturbing things about gun culture I've ran into. All right, so let's go on to another kind of general group of questions or advice. You can only shoot one gun at a time. I have several friends, love them dearly. They have hundreds of guns. Now, when guns, I don't know if you knew this, they're made of metal and they're pretty heavy. And if you have hundreds of them, I think you're approaching, I don't know if it's 10 pounds. You're approaching half a ton of weight, maybe 3/4 a ton of weight, especially if they're rifles. You can only shoot one of them at a time. And so the way I approach guns is they're tools, all right? And you can get multiple guns for multiple purposes, but I don't get guns like, ooh, look, this one has a thingy. Ooh, I can attach a thingy to the gun thingy to make it a super gun thing. It's like, no, I mean, how long does it shoot? What's its speed? What can I drop at what range? Will the bullets go through bodies and kill an innocent kid next door into the apartment building? I love guns. If I had unlimited money, maybe I'd get more. But I'm very sparse on my guns. because each gun serves a very specific purpose, situation, and you can only shoot one of them at a time. And so keep that in mind. You don't want to just like go. I have a buddy who has over 600 guns. It's like, okay, that is more than a ton of weight. So you want, if you're new, get a gun for your most immediate purpose. Usually it's self-defense. So you're looking at, actually, if you're at home, a shotgun. But if you're out and about, you want to carry and conceal, you're looking for a standard 9mm pistol. But you only need one. Until you master that one, you shouldn't be allowed to fire anything else. All right. Just figure that one out. So yes, if you're in a crisis, you cannot haul your 600 guns across the state. It'll weigh you down. And they are tools. They're not toys to collect. No, if you want to be a gun collector, go collect them. Yeah, I'm not going to judge. I'm a libertarian. Do whatever you want. Some people collect dildos, right? You want to collect 600 guns, all right? There's your 600 guns, of which 575 of them you don't fire. You trade them out, and you're like, I have this gun. All right, so let's go through the type of guns and this is a pretty extensive list, okay? The type of guns that you, let's say, should have. I wouldn't say need, because some of these guns can cover the use and purpose of other guns. But this would be like probably the most amount of type of gun, one of each only that you would need. All right. First, you're going to need a regular large caliber pistol. If you're a bigger guy, that'll be your carry gun because it won't show on you. But a larger caliber, I mean like 40 or 45, 44. And the reason you want to go 40, at minimum 40 or larger, is because if you go out into the wilderness like I do, that gun can drop a bear or a mountain lion or a pissed off moose. All right. How many of you hike out in the wilderness? Probably not a lot. So that's not generally going to be your carry gun. But if you're a larger guy or a gal, because let's just admit, America's full of fat, large women, you got enough room under your fat folds. You could fit a full-size, dirty, hairy 44, snub 357, maybe. So you could carry that. But the larger bullet pistols, those are good for out there protecting. I would recommend a compact or subcompact, depending on your size. You could have a full-size gun too if you're a larger person, as your standard carry pistol for self-defense when you're out there. I recommend 9mm or 40 caliber bullet. People like 40 a little. I think the cops are carrying 40 now, which is a larger bullet than 9mm. But it's up to you. They're kind of, you're not shooting more than 50, not 50. You're not shooting more than 20 yards if you're using a pistol. My favorite for a carry is my MP9 Shield, which is a compact gun, maybe even subcompact, but it fits well on my small frame that most people don't know I'm using it. Especially if it's summertime, like it's coming up now, you're going to want a small one. By God almighty, don't get a 380. Do not get a 380 pistol. They suck. Unless you're a dainty little girl and you want it to fit in your purse. Then you need your standard shit gun. Okay, your standard shit gun is the gun that you're probably going to use the most. I'd bring mine out here. It's a Springfield XD9, a generation ago. I love it. And it gets scratched, it gets dinged. I could tuck it into my pants on the side. You really ought to have a holster right there. Sometimes you can't have a holster because it shows. These are the same safety buddies. Like, oh, you really need to have a holster. And it's great to have this piece of crap gun because you can kind of treat it like crap, but these should be your most reliable gun and you're going to use it the most. Mine's gotten scratched. I've got it dented a little bit. I've had to repaint the sights. I've even had to re-blue it once. And there's a little bit of rust at one time. I got rid of it. But it's just a nice gun that you could carry out. It's raining, bring the crap gun. It's probably going to be your most utilitarian gun for at least self-defense. Oh, I got sweat in it. Okay, fine. Put a little bit of oil on it. Was it Remington oil? I forgot. I got a bunch of different oil. So you need a good crap gun. I mean, it's still operational. Keep it clean on the inside. but you don't care if it gets scratched or anything like that. So that's and I really like the XD9 series, but you guys could get your own. A lot of people like Glocks too. Glocks are fine, absolutely perfect weapons. But I just really like the Springfield XD9 series. Then you're going to need a carbine, which AR-15 type of rifle. Semi-automatic to carry the 223 5.56 rounds. The reason you want to have that is because it's so common, you're very likely to run into additional ammunition for that. They are effective up to 300 yards. People with better vision, I don't have great vision in my shooting eye. They can make it more effective up to 500 yards. But I can't see the target after 300 yards. Now, you can get a scope to help out with that, but I have a red dot on my AR, and I hit that, and I got iron sights as well. I have 2 ARs, actually. But that is a good medium-range defense gun. Some people say the ARs or these carbines are pretty good for home defense. I don't see it. I've never really had to shoot anyone at my house, thank God. A short-barreled shotgun would do better, or my Bullpup Tavor X95. I think that would do better. I'm not saying the AR-15 wouldn't scare people away, but I don't see it. I just don't see why an AR-15 would do that. This is you need lots of bullets, medium range. People are getting a little bit close to your house. You want to keep them at 100 yards or further away. I would say it's a good defense rifle if you're getting attacked and they're a little bit closer on you. I would also consider a longer range 308 semi-automatic rifle. 308 is a much larger bullet than the 226. It goes farther, faster, way more stopping power impact. And that's effective 300 plus, like 300 to 800. And here's the thing. When you look at effective range, what they're going to do is like, Canadians are good snipers. A Canadian sniper hit somebody 3 miles away with a 308 round. Well, yeah, that's not you, okay? So what's really effective up to, and you're going to need a scope on it, is a 308 would be effective out to 500, even 800 yards. If you got good vision, you got a good scope. And obviously, you'd have to train with these things. But your 223 bullet's going to drop off after a bit. You got to deal with arcing, or 550s for the AR-15s. Your pistols aren't going to make it that far. And your aim would be horrible. But if you're going into a larger, longer range caliber of bullet and rifle, you're going to start to have to enter into scopes. Whereas an AR-15, your Bullpups, you could put a scope on a pistol. I don't know why you would. You could get away with a red dot or ACOG, which just puts it doesn't magnify anything. It's just a little dot right there. And then you're very accurate. I mean, you shoot a pistol, then you shoot an AR-15. Holy cow, night and day difference. But what if they got 308s? What if they got sniper rifles? You'll be like, I can't see them. Blah, you're dead. So a 308 would be one of those spanning guns that would span 2 different uses. It would be a great weapon at 200 yards. It might be a bit excessive, and the ammo is very expensive. But it could also reach out to 800 yards with some practice. So, and there's different platforms that you can use for a 308, of which I don't own one. I just fired one not too long ago. And I was like, okay, yeah, this thing's got some potential. I could see why you'd have this weapon. Shotgun. Semi-auto shotgun, home defense. You want to use birdshot because birdshot will still fuck the person up. Well, kill them is what it will do. But birdshot will not go necessarily through their body and through a wall and hit someone either behind him who's innocent or go into the next room. Shotguns in general are good for that because it sprays, and the penetration power of those little pellets is not that it blows the person's guts out. But birdshot, you're like, why do I? And what's great is that's available. Last time I went to Fleet Farm, I got a bunch of birdshot for my shotgun. I really don't like shotguns though that much because they're so complicated to operate. And so get a semi-automatic shotgun and train the hell out of it. with it. I mean, learn how to. I got a shotgun. It's got 2 shot. I'm like, this is a crap gun. It was a hunting gun for birds, obviously. You want something that's got like 14, bam, bam, bam. And that's a great home defense weapon. I would say that's probably the best one. Not the sexiest, but it's the best one. Bullpup. I'm always for someone having a bullpup design. What's a bullpup? Well, a bullpup would be like a carbine, but the rifle is buried all the way back into the stock, which is the part you put up against your shoulder while you shoot. And that allows for a shorter gun, which means a quicker turn. And then because of the length of the barrel, still has roughly the same accuracy. Now you could get different bullpups. So usually it's a 223. I have a Tavor X95. I don't know how the Israelis pronounce it. I was just hanging out with Terrence Pop. He says, no, get a Gilead, which is fine. Another buddy of mine who was a former paratrooper, and he's a cop now. He has a built-up pistol. Say a pistol. Yeah, they can make pistols that got like an extension of stock on it, and they're smaller and tighter. And I like that because I'm a smaller guy, but it still has the accuracy of an AR-15, so it's up to 300 yards. But it's tighter. I'm not like that would be a way better gun to protect your home with than an AR-15, because the AR-15 can be about this long sometimes. But for smaller guys, you get that bullpup. It's right there. And there's many different types of design. Now, the Tavor X95, I like that design. I think it's very sexy. But I also like when I've practiced with it, it's like, okay, yeah, this feels nice and snug. But I have shot other guns. I got my buddy Lloyd, and he makes his own guns. I'm like, ooh, this is sexy. I shot a 458 SOCOM. Holy cow. That was that's if you're trying to drop a rhino. The bullets are about, the size of a football. I won't recommend that, though. I'm sure there's a reason for it. The original reason was because the Somalis during the Mogadishu thing in 1994 were all hyped up on drugs, and you could shoot them with 223 ammo, and they wouldn't drop. So you had to get 450. I mean, it's almost the size of your thumb, and it would blow off limbs. So it's like, okay, you're just going to make it so you can't use that leg anymore because it's over there now. But anyway, I do like the bullpup concept, of which there might be a dozen or 24 different types of designs. So you could get a bullpup or an extended pistol, where you take it's officially a pistol according to the federal government, but it's got a stock and they're about that long. And the barrel can be extended a little bit. Now watch, will be a bunch of fucking gun nerds, these safety little technically. Oh, and by the way, there's the gun nerds, and they're assholes, and you don't want to have anything to do with them. So they're the ones that have 600 guns. Like, hey, when's the last time you saw a vagina? Shut up! I got my gun. So maybe go hold a couple bullpup designs, see how it feels. And I think they're really good for home defense. Then you need a hunting rifle, not a sniper rifle. Heavens no, that would indicate you're shooting humans, and that's wrong. A hunting rifle that can kill animals at long distances. And the only one I have experience with is our Savage 111 30-06. And the key thing isn't the gun I'm shooting. It's the bullet type, a 30-06 caliber. Now, I went online, and that's 800 yards plus. And this is where you got to get a really good scope, not just a little red dot where there's a dot like, okay, you hit your target. You need a scope with, 2, 3, 5, 10, 10's pretty serious, magnifying. And then once you get into scoped shooting, then you all of a sudden start needing things like, a distance tracker or spotters. I even remember shooting my AR-15 one time. He's like, okay, go to the 500. I'm like, 500? So I'm like aiming my little red dot up a little bit. I hit it. I pulled the trigger, I can't see if I hit. I don't know where the bullet went. I can't see it. He's like, hit. I'm like, if I hit, I miss. So like, okay, maybe I'm effective up to 500, but I don't know if I am. Not without a spotter. So once, certainly beyond 500 yards, you're going to start needing a spotter. Somebody like, oh yeah, you're a little bit off, you're a little bit left, a little bit right, a little bit up, a little bit down. But the 30-06 is it's a good long range bullet. When I was in Wyoming and I shot it and became proficient at it. I actually had to make little snowmen way off in the God. I got a lot of exercise that day. So I made like a bunch of snowmen, snowballs, and I put them way out there so I could hit, and I had to walk 500 yards back. Man, it was even 800, but and I'm lining them up, and I'm like, unless there's mill dots like on the scopes, it shows you like, okay, you angle it up and you move down on that crosshair, and that's about 300 yards up. That one's 500 yards up, and the only way I could tell if I hit it was when the snowball exploded, which only happened one time. But they're quite a distance a ways. But you will want, and with scope rifles, you, like any other gun, you're going to want to get training, and that's a lot more finesse, getting the right gear and equipment, and they can become like, my buddy wants to buy a 50 caliber Barrett gun. And this is the gun that the Canadians, by the way, are really good snipers. I think they hold the records for most longest shots. They're just damn good snipers. Like 2 miles away. And then you got to worry about wind and heat. And they got computers now attached to these sniper rifles that pick it out. So it's, and now you're talking dropping 15 grand on a gun and equipment and setup. Which would make you really good in a crisis. I mean, yeah, I like to keep my enemy 2 miles away. That'd be great. If I had to choose between 200 yards away or 2 miles away, I'd prefer they're 2 miles away. They don't even know what's happening because the bullet hits them before they hear it, because the bullet's going faster than the speed of sound. Just but I also do believe on a more practical level, having a 30-06 or a traditional classic hunting rifle is just to drop deer, especially in a post-apocalyptic world, or game so you can eat. And then finally, this is optional. I would get a 22 semi-automatic rifle, like AR platform, Bullpup. They're fun as hell to shoot. You could also kill varmint, and you could drop some slightly larger game with it. So if, like, in a post-apocalyptic world, you don't want to start wasting, because the 308 bullet is $2 now. 22 bullet is nothing. And you could fuck some people up, at a significant range. But the main reason I'd recommend you get a 22 rifle is because of practice and marksmanship. They're way cheaper bullets. You learn good handling and form. You learn how to line up your shots. So you got that there. I'd also get a sandbag to go with it. Why would I need a sandbag? Get a sandbag so you set your gun on it, and you're not standing up there doing this. You always, like how they have a bipod or a tripod, you lean against a tree or something like that. Just get yourself a sandbag, put it right there, hold it. And Glorious Carl taught me that trick. And I was pretty good, and we shot 308s. Then, finally, a rule of Cappy. If you find a gun you like, you must get rid of the same type of gun it will replace. Because you don't want to become one of those collectors. Well, I really like this gun. Yeah, but you got a gun of the same caliber and platform. Like, okay, I really like this AR-15. Oh, but there's this better AR-15 with, I don't know, better rifling. Better grip, whatever. Oh, I bought that gun. All right, now get rid of your old AR-15, because you can only shoot one gun at a time, and now you have a gun that is superior to the other gun. So get rid of the unsuperior one or the inferior one. And just so you know, different guns can be converted into different calibers. My Tavor, right now it is for a 223, but the barrel and the innards can be switched out to do 9mm, 40, 45, something like that. I've thought about having like kind of a semi-rifle platform shooting what is normally a pistol caliber bullet, like a 45. That'd make a great defense weapon. But I don't have the expertise or the money right now. So we got that. All right, let's talk about ammo. Ammo. Stock up on ammo when it's cheap. Don't wait for a Democrat to get elected and everything to go up through the price. And then when you buy ammo, assume you will not be able to buy ammo in the future, so you get 5,000 rounds per gun. You say, why 5,000 rounds per gun? Because that more or less will give you enough ammo to last your life to practice, but then still have enough ammo to go and defend your home if you need to. And like, let's say you have 4 9mm guns. Well, you better get 20,000 rounds of ammo. You can practice with all of them because and also, I mean, if you're like 75 years old, okay, you don't need 5,000 rounds because you're going to die soon. But if you're a younger man, yeah, or a woman, you know. But guns are bad, and we don't want to shoot guys that have ill will towards you. Now, would we? That'd be. The cops are, when seconds matter, the cops are only minutes away. And then when you buy the ammo, keep in mind most of it's going to be practice. Ultimately, most of it is. You're not going to shoot in defense or offense or anything like that, or terror. So the majority of your shooting is going to be for practice. And in that case, you can get target practice ammo. Especially when this comes to pistols. You just want your regular crap Russian ammo. It's going to clog up your gun. It'll teach you how to clean it and all that. You want to get cheap crap ammo for practice. But then your carry ammo is the hollow tip, shredding, mushrooming ammo that does not penetrate the body at a high speed, therefore lessening the chance it'll kill somebody behind. So buy a fair amount of practice ammo and go and practice regularly, but then you save your good ammo for like when you're actually, hunting, defense, carry, whatever else. So we got there. We got the shit ammo. Talked about birdshot for the shotgun. Oh, let's talk about the most likely case you're going to have a gun is a pistol for self-defense. You're going to look into ammo that either mushrooms or shrapnels or shreds upon impact. Usually that's hollow tipped, and there's 7, 8, maybe even 10 variants of ammo. Now, some of it's plastic tip, some of it's this tip, some of it's ceramic tip. You don't want target ammo in your carry gun that you use for self-defense, because target ammo is just basically copper or lead, and it goes right through that person's body, and it might kill the person behind them or the innocent child through the window, through the door, sitting in their crib. So hollow tipped, there's like a little crater at the front of the bullet. That's at minimum hollow tip, and so it hits the body, it expands, and not only does it cause more damage to the asshole you're trying to kill, it slows down tremendously, causing less risk behind that person. And then I have to look at it, but my boss, he got me like 6 years ago. It was a really nice gift. Like this ammo that would shred upon impact. And so that's even safer for innocents behind it, because it's no longer like a mushroomed singular piece of metal that might have enough velocity to hurt you, but now it's like little shards that probably are not going to make it through the body. If they do make it through the body, it's going a lot, because there's more friction on the surface area of those multiple shards. So that is what you practice with crap ammo, your target ammo, but you carry with hollow tip, shredding, mushrooming, plastic tip type of ammo out of concern for the safety of others, essentially, is what you do that for. Keep your ammo dry. Have it wrapped up. You can get containers that are airproof. Learn to reload your own ammo. That's something I haven't done, but I envy people who do. I haven't gotten to it yet. And then also learn what grains mean. I have my buddy Lloyd again. Well, there's 185 grains. That's 526 joulewatts. I have no idea what that means. None. And I think it's the number of grains of gunpowder in the bullet, which I'm thinking obviously the higher number of grains, the faster and longer distance that bullet can travel. But it depends. Like, let's say you go out and you practice with one group of ammo, like with a rifle. You're usually a 30-06, and these bullets, and you're hitting the target. But then you get another bullet, and you're shooting way too high. Well, it probably has more grains in it. And so, and then when you sight a scope, you're sighting it using that particular type of ammo. You get a different type of ammo, your scope is no longer accurate, especially at long distances. So you're going to want to you kind of be somewhat consistent. Know what I got the higher grain. I ought to notch my scope down a little bit. Do that. But beyond grains, I know nothing. Then let's talk about scopes. All right. First thing, you should learn how to shoot without a scope because you may not have one. And anything I would say, 300 yards or shorter, you really ought to learn to not shoot with a scope. Because if you're doing a red dot, you got to turn on. Well, that's going to take a second or two. And then there are iron sights. Iron sights mean the sights that come with the gun. If you learn how to shoot with that in an emergency, you can pick it up, start shooting. Then you can worry about attaching your scope later. What I like a lot, though, is flip sights. It's basically just two attachments that go on top of the gun. It's called the rail. Usually it'd be like a grooved rectangular looking device. And you just Allen wrench on these things. And then you hit the two buttons on the side and the two sights go bloop. They just pop up, flick. And make sure you put it the right way. A singular point here, 2 points here, and then you can line up. And so learn to shoot with the iron sights. And the reason you're going to want to learn to shoot with the iron sights is maybe you don't have a scope, or more likely you have a scope, a red dot scope of some kind, and you forgot to turn off the battery, and the battery is dead. There are different scopes out there now that have batteries that are perpetually on, and they'll last, I think it's like runs on plutonium, some kind of nuclear fissile material, and they last like a year and a half. I'm like, yeah, sign me up for that, and I may get one of those. But if you have like one that they take watch batteries. Once you turn it on, remember to turn it off. But that's the flip side, so you should learn to do that. And then once you get like a longer range weapon, sure, you should learn to shoot with iron sights, but to be effective, you're going to need an optical scope, not merely just a piece of electronic equipment that puts a little red dot in the center of a piece of glass. You can't even call it lens. Do not bother with scopes for your pistol or shotgun. This is part of the larger trend for people to gear up their gun. The same small dick pussies that have sand in their vagina like to trick out their guns. And it's got a flashlight and a laser. And it's like, okay, by the time you turn that all on, they've overrun you. This isn't to say that lasers or flashlights don't have a value. But man, I remember this one AR-15 had a scope, but it was a big scope. I'm like, okay, look, the bullet isn't going to reach that far. And then you got wires and they got the handle. And it's like, all right, look, for pistols and shotguns, maybe a light flashlight you could attach to the barrel. So at night you can see what you're shooting. Maybe a laser if you hit they both go on 6-0. But otherwise, don't over trick out your guns. You're the safety bunnies and you're the sand in the vagina pussies who have nothing else going on in life. And you're fat and you're like, look, your gun cost $800, but all the gear cost $1,500. You're still a shitty shot. So I would not bother with tricking out your pistols or shotguns too much. For mid-range guns, meaning not pistols up to not rifles, you could get a red dot or an ACOG or whatever that plutonium nuclear thing is, where it's not magnified. It's just a dot, and that helps. Up to 300 yards are very accurate with a red dot scope on an AR-15 platform or any kind of gun that shoots at 223, any kind of carbine. And so it's on all my AR-15s, I do have red dot scopes attached to them, but I don't have anything more, and I do have flip sights on both of them. So if the batteries, take it off, throw it away, hit the flip sights, and I'm back in the game. But again, remember not to drain the batteries, and bring some extra batteries with you and put it in your case that you should have with every gun. For 300 plus yards, maybe that's just me because I have bad vision in my right eye. Maybe you're okay at 500 yards or 400 yards, but I would say anything if you want to keep it at 300 yards or further away, you're going to need a magnified scope. And you're going to have to learn how to shoot with a scope. One, you got to learn how to look in it. You got to get your eye at the right distance. You got to make sure it's level. And then you kind of like, oh, there it is. They're kind of pains in the asses, to be perfectly honest. But once you get that, you're going to want a 2, 3, 5, 10 magnified scope, depending on the caliber of bullet you're shooting. Learn how to use it. Learn about the mil dots. Learn about the, if you look at it, there's usually a line that goes down and a line this far across, then a line not that far across, then another line less across than that. And what they're trying to do is show you the trajectory of the bullet as it goes down. And you're going to have to learn like distancing, like, okay, what is that? And a lot of time you're not going to have a spotter. You're not going to have the device to say, oh, that's 300 yards away. You're going to have to be able to look at that. That's 250, 300 and be accurate. You could go get a rangefinder, at a golf shop, probably pretty cheap. It'd be good to have. But what if you don't have your rangefinder with you? You got to learn how to do it analog-like. Oh, and then in addition to that, because it happened to me and happens to everyone, make sure that when you're firing a rifle with a scope that it's securely fastened into your chest, or your shoulder rather, because if you fire it and it's not anchored down, the gun will have a recoil and then the scope will hit you right in your eye and you'll have a black eye. I think you've seen several videos of that with girls shooting shotguns. All right, shooting. There's two stances. There's the isosceles stance where you're symmetrical. There's the Weaver stance, which is more where it's going down this arm if you're right-handed and you hold with your left. Just do the isosceles. Do not bother with the Weaver. The isosceles is much more stable, and you're going to have to learn how to hold your gun, which you're going to have to hire a professional to teach you, or just watch some videos on it. You're going to want to practice shooting, but you're also going to want to practice shooting under pressure. Depending on how quick someone's coming up on you, and this is where you just got to, like, someone come, like, right there, like, bam, 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 bam. Like, you're not even thinking about it, and your natural instincts will kick in. But if someone's charging at you like 20 feet away, 25 feet away, you don't want to bam, 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 bam. You're going to miss most of the time, to be perfectly honest. It is worth the time to take half a second or a quarter second to at least line up your shot a little bit, because one shot will drop someone and solve the problem a lot quicker than 4 shots that don't. And I would, and one thing, and this is where pot calling the kettle black, I really need to practice drawing and shooting more. Just like walking down the street. What if someone comes to the right? What if someone comes to the left? So if someone comes behind? What if someone's in front of me? What if they're 30 feet away? What if they're 10 feet away? So you got that. I like carrying my guns, just an opinion. I'm sure the safety sand in the vagina pussies, who are the safety bunnies at the firing range, would complain otherwise. I am right-handed. I like carrying my gun on my left hip, angle where I just pull it right out. Some people prefer it on the right if you're right-handed. On the right hip, you just pull it out like that. There is no right or wrong way. I know people that do the crotch carry. I'm like, ugh. Some people carry it behind. Sometimes I carry it behind. I have a shoulder holster where it fits underneath my armpit. It depends what I'm wearing, what the temperature is, and what I'm doing. But generally, my crap gun, my Springfield XD9 that is scratch and all that, I carry it right there on the side. But then your oils on your skin and the salt on your hip get at it. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I still do it that way. What else? Shooting. Just practice a lot. Oh, and then when you go to the gun, a good etiquette, just a thing to do is, so when you fire a gun, the bullet goes out, but the shell that was holding the bullet is ejected out of the chamber of the gun. And if you fire a lot, you're going to have, you could have 100 shells laying around. what you really ought to do is bring a blanket, because they all eject roughly they eject the same way, and depending on how you're holding the gun will give it a little bit of variance, but they're all going to kind of land in generally the same area. If you want to be polite, bring a good size sheet. Shoot. All your casings should end up in the same area. Just tie it up in the blanket, and then usually there's like, if it's brass, people, they appreciate it if they recycle that. You can leave that there with the gun range, but it's nice. It keeps gun ranges tidy, or other people's property. You want just shells laying around. So there's that. All right, I think this is the final stuff. For your carbines or longer, carbines and rifles, always have a case. And in the case, always have extra ammo and extra magazine. And I would also recommend some iodine pills and some silver. You don't have to do it that way, but it allows for you to sling it over your back and carry it out. And then if you got some extra ammo, and the reason I really like that is if there's a shit hits the fan or emergency crisis, you grab it and you got at least some ammo, at least some money, and at least some iodine pills for water. And you're off to the races. So every carbine or larger, I have it in a case with a sling around it. Not a carrying case. That's what you get with it. You want it slinged around your back so you can haul ass out, and you can get your food, you can protect yourself. You got enough bullets, hopefully, to last you enough time until crisis ends. You can go back home. This is random. For pistols, I prefer a dead man's grip. Dead man's grip means there's no safety. There's like a little lever on the back side of the handle, so when you grab it, it's live. Now, at the same time, I also do not carry with the chambered rounds, because there's a fair amount of kids that are around, and there's a higher chance of you're going to have misfirings. Injury and death is caused more by accidents than people purposely shooting, unless you're in Chicago. So I always like that, and that behooves upon me to be a little bit more vigilant of my surroundings, because it's going to take about, three-quarters a second, a full second for me to chamber around. But without that safety, I just have a dead man's grip. Once I grab it and I put one in the chamber, I'm ready to go. Many people will disagree with me on that, including people who are better gunsmith shooting guys than me. I'm just a little bit more cautious, I guess, because I do not want to accidentally shoot someone else, let alone my own foot. So that's up to you. There's some disagreement there. Girls, let's talk about the girls. I don't care how much of a Marxist leftist she is. Every girl likes to shoot guns. I don't know how many. One time in particular, but one girl came in like, "Why is that a gun?" It's like, yeah, it's a gun. Why do you have it? Well, not only is it my constitutional right to have it, it's a great way to protect my home. I worked armed security. Oh, can I pick it up? And I'm like, okay, all right, here we go. Here we go. I hate guns. We should ban other people from having guns. Can I look at it? Go and say, here. And she already had it. Remember, she had it. I'm like, okay, give this to me. Took it out. I think I even had one chambered in there. I'm like, okay, knock yourself out. Sure enough, like within 5 seconds, she's like, it's like, all right, yeah. Everybody likes guns. Everybody does it. Everybody likes shooting guns. I would even argue that girls find it sexy because it's dangerous, it's naughty, and you're not supposed to have them because they kill children and puppies. And then you're like, yeah, screw that. It's like not wearing a mask. Like, oh my God, he's not wearing a mask. I'm going to tisk him, but then I'm going to have sex with him too, because I don't know why he's so much sexier than my soy boy limped, perfectly groomed beard, pink shirt, gray slacks, brown shoes, but the slacks only go down to his calf, soy boy millennial boyfriend. I can't understand why. And then it's always a good time at the gun range. It's a fun time to shoot guns. And then girls usually like that. If no children are going to be around, I'm all for leaving guns around the house. Not in the open where someone comes in late at night. Hey, here's a gun. I was going to use this knife. Hey, look at this. But, magnet on your metal desk, hidden underneath your computer desk, in the drawer, so different places where, one in each room where it's kind of like, oh, this guy comes in. All right, put your hands on him. All right, fine. And they turn around, you got your gun tucked underneath the couch. And although I wouldn't recommend doing that. But I like having them convenient. Like I remember I just had my pistol. Boom, right there. Sam Spade. Get back in, about to do some asshole consulting. Put my pistol, Springfield XD9. I didn't care if it got scratched because it was the shit gun, which I still have to this day. And I have not done this. I would get into competition shooting. I see these guys. I'm like, okay, with it'd take a year or more to get there in regular practice. But if you could go through them, pew, 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 that really not only increases your chances of defending yourself, but drastically increases the chances of you not missing your target and shooting someone behind your intended target and dropping them within one shot. So I've always envied people that were that good, who are competitive shooters, one of which I know personally. Also, if you get a gun and you get your carry permit, that will in many states qualify you to work armed security, which adds, in some cases, an additional 30% of income to your hourly wage. And then finally, be very aware when traveling. Not only because different states, and I knew this, and so I had to put my gun in a certain place within my truck. So if I got pulled over in Colorado, I wouldn't get busted for illegally carrying a weapon. But also, if you travel a lot, your airports, especially if you carry, you don't want to be like, oh yeah, it's in there, that backpack. You kind of know it was in your backpack, but this is your travel backpack. And then you're off to the airport. Not only did you forget a mask, you forgot to take your gun out or even your bullets out. So anytime you're going on the airport, if you like guns, you got several of them, make darn sure not even a magazine, not even a clip. Make sure you go through it. I was about to go to the airport. I'm like, I better check this. And I'm like, oh, a box of ammo, a magazine. Here's my MP9 shield. All right, let's take these out, please. And so we got that there. So there you go. That is pretty much everything I know about guns. We got 120 comments. Let's see if there's any super chats here. We got a couple. Jay Johnson for $20 generous dollars. Thank you, Jay. Hey, Cappy, understand your reasoning for birdshot, but what are your thoughts on buckshot for an old shoddy for home defense? If you're in your home and okay, you don't have kids, fine. I mean, it's better than a pistol. It's better than a single bullet or a slug. So I mean, it's fine. I'm thinking more like apartment living. You don't want to blast through that guy and the sheetrock, and a couple pellets end up in some guy's back who's taking a shit on the toilet. So I mean, yeah, it's fine. I just think the birdshot would be a little bit better. Finally, you're going to get a dog to beat a dog at the new house. I've actually thought about it, not to beat because I actually do like dogs, but I could use a dog because there's a dog here. The good dog is here, the one that behaves. Because I know everybody else wants me to be Stefan Molyneux and let the other dog bark and shit and whine and be an insufferable pain in the ass. But I may get a dog. It's been a bad month. Christoph and on $5 greens refer to projectile weight. Oh, so it's the bullet, is it? Maximum accurate bullet weight is determined by barrel twist rate. Shoot to find right weight for your barrel. Okay, thank you, Anand. Thank you. I thought it had to do with the amount of gunpowder. Fred Freeman Saul for $2. You're such an asshole. I was going to sleep, asshole. How are you? I'm getting better. I'm going to be cutting a fair amount of people out of my life. And I'm going to have much higher standards, but even lower expectations. Where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, isn't it? And I'll be doing work. I'll be getting back to normal. But there's not going to be not going to be a lot of, let's go hang out with people. It'd be more like, I think I'm going to go listen to some more podcasts. I'm going to go for a hike. Fred again for $2. I once moved to a state where my AR was banned. Was sad. Oh, well, did you move to a state where it wasn't banned? There we go. That's nice. Just going through the rest. Fred again for $5. Is it weird that I will buy my first property abroad and not in the U.S. Each time I go on a date here, two things happen: lose part of my soul, take one more step to leave. Yeah, no, it's nothing wrong with you buying property overseas, Fred. I'll rent from you. Actually, email me, Fred, because that might be something where the cash flow would come in. Like if I got a split town, I would love to have like, okay, I'll rent a room from you to get on my feet, get my own place. Because I've thought about that myself. Like, I mean, that's my next step. But if you're going to do it this year, I'm not doing it until next year. I don't even have the money to buy a place overseas anyway. But no, it's perfectly all right. Especially if you want to get married, Fred. It kind of sounds like you do. Or you like to find a girl. Fred, for $2, went out with private equity gal Monday. She chose her cat. Well, serves you right. There you go. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.